It all began on a quiet Saturday afternoon in Alex's small, sunlit apartment. The kind of afternoon where the streets outside seemed paused, and even the hum of traffic felt distant. Alex, a 22-year-old college student with a part-time job at a local bookstore, lounged on his worn-out couch scrolling through social media. Life had been routine lately, studying, working, occasional hangouts with friends. But today, something trivial would tip his world sideways. Alex wasn't a secretive person, at least, not entirely, but there was one thing about himself he'd never admitted to anyone, not even his closest friends. He had a fascination with clothing and makeup traditionally worn by women. It wasn't a desperate secret or a shameful quirk, just an unspoken part of himself that he occasionally indulged in private. Sometimes, he'd try on his sister's old dresses or experiment with eyeliner when no one was around. It was playful, harmless, and mostly fulfilling his curiosity. His sister, Rachel, had a reputation for owning a wardrobe that could rival a boutique. Bright skirts, soft blouses, heels that clicked with every step, an entire world of fashion that Alex had only admired from the safety of his room. That afternoon, Rachel had left in a rush to meet a friend, leaving behind a lilac skirt folded neatly on her chair. Alex's eyes lingered on it. It wasn't the first time he'd been tempted, but something in the sunlight, the way it highlighted the skirt's soft fabric, made him act impulsively. He picked it up, feeling its delicate texture between his fingers. "It's just a joke," he muttered to himself with a nervous laugh. "No one will know." He hesitated, glancing at the living room mirror. The reflection staring back seemed ordinary, Alex in his hoodie and sweatpants, but he imagined the skirt on him. A shiver of excitement ran down his spine. In a moment of recklessness, he pulled off his sweatpants and slipped into the lilac skirt. It fit surprisingly well, hugging his hips and flowing just above his knees. He twirled once, feeling the light fabric swirl around him, and then froze, heart hammering. The mirror reflected a different version of himself, not quite a stranger, but not entirely Alex either. The thrill of being seen, even by his own reflection, was intoxicating. He adjusted the waistband nervously, aware of how the skirt emphasized his frame in a way he had never experienced before. It was just a joke, wasn't it? At that moment, his phone buzzed. A message from Emma, his girlfriend, popped up. "Hey, coming home a bit late. You okay?" Alex's pulse quickened. Emma didn't know about his little experiments with crossdressing, and he intended to keep it that way. He hastily pulled the skirt lower, tried to smooth down his hoodie to cover it, and typed a casual response. "All good. Just chilling." Emma had always been playful and teasing, with a sharp sense of humor that kept their relationship lighthearted. But Alex's secret made him wary around her. He loved her, but the fear of judgment, of her laughing at him or misunderstanding his curiosity, gnawed at the edges of his thrill. Still, the idea of wearing the skirt, of letting himself indulge just a little longer, was too tempting. Alex's phone buzzed again, this time a group chat from his friends. They were sharing memes, laughing, and planning a casual get-together later that evening. Normally, Alex would have jumped in, but today, he felt a strange pull to remain hidden, to experiment alone. He walked to his bedroom, skirt swishing softly, and looked in the mirror again. The reflection now seemed alive, teasing him with possibilities he hadn't considered. He thought back to that first experiment, months ago, when he had tried on a blouse from Rachel's wardrobe just for laughs. The feeling had been fleeting then, quickly brushed aside by guilt. But today was different. Today, the skirt made him feel visible, yet invisible at the same time. He was a secret person, exploring a new side of himself in private, away from the judgment of the world. A laugh escaped his lips, soft, nervous, and a little breathless. He felt the skirt against his legs, light and airy, and tried to imagine going out in it, feeling the world's eyes on him. The thought was both exhilarating and terrifying. For the first time, he realized that this impulse, this tiny, playful joke, was awakening something deeper. Something he couldn't ignore. And then, as he twirled once more, he caught sight of the camera on his desk. Alex had set it up earlier for a streaming project, planning to film a casual day-in-the-life video. On a whim, He pressed record. A shiver ran through him as he saw the skirt in motion on the screen, his reflection multiplied through the lens. He laughed nervously, whispering, "Just a joke, just a joke." But deep down, Alex knew this wasn't just a joke anymore. The skirt felt like it belonged on him, like a key unlocking a side of himself he hadn't dared explore. The line between playfulness and obsession blurred, and the quiet apartment, once just a mundane setting, now felt like a stage for transformation. And so, with the camera recording, Alex took a tentative step into this new identity. A step he couldn't undo. A step that would lead him into situations he had never imagined, revealing desires, fears, and vulnerabilities he had never faced. Little did he know, the joke he had started as a whim would spiral into a world of thrilling secrecy, emotional discovery, and suspenseful moments that could change his life forever. By the time the sunlight faded from the apartment windows, Alex had already caught a glimpse of the excitement and danger lurking in this new side of himself. He was about to learn that what began as a joke could become an obsession he couldn't stop, and the question wasn't whether he would continue, but whether he could ever go back. The moment the sunlight dimmed, Alex felt a strange combination of exhilaration and fear. He had only intended to wear the skirt for a few minutes, a playful, harmless joke on himself. But now, standing in front of the mirror with a soft lilac fabric hugging his hips, he realized he couldn't bring himself to take it off. His fingers grazed the fabric nervously as he adjusted it, smoothing out wrinkles and tucking in stray strands of hair. The thrill wasn't just in wearing the skirt, it was in the way it made him feel, exposed yet empowered, playful yet careful. Each movement reminded him of a secret side of himself that had been dormant for years, waiting for this small, reckless opportunity. Alex's mind raced. Was this wrong? Was it silly? A part of him told him to stop, to pull the skirt off and return to the safety of his hoodie and sweatpants. But another part, the part that craved novelty and the rush of secrecy, urged him to explore further. He thought about Emma. She had always been playful, teasing, and kind-hearted, but she had never known this part of him. What if she saw him like this? What if she laughed, not in a joking way, but in judgment? The fear tightened in his chest, but it didn't stop him. In fact, it heightened the thrill. Alex sank onto the edge of his bed, pulling the skirt higher over his thighs and letting himself take in the reflection. The camera on his desk recorded silently, capturing his every shift of emotion. He was alone, yes, but the idea of being watched, even by a lens, made his heart pound. It was a strange mixture of vulnerability and liberation, a feeling he had never experienced so intensely before. After a few moments, Alex moved on to other pieces of Rachel's wardrobe. He carefully selected a soft, pastel blouse that complemented the skirt and slid it over his shoulders. The fabric brushed against his skin, sending shivers down his spine. He glanced in the mirror again and nearly gasped. The reflection staring back was still Alex, but softer somehow, more playful, more daring, more alive. He experimented with makeup, cautious at first, smudging eyeliner across his eyes and brushing subtle shades of blush across his cheeks. Each stroke changed him, not physically, but emotionally. He felt a strange confidence building with every detail, the way his lips caught the light, the way his eyes seemed larger, more expressive. The shoes were the final touch, a pair of low heels he found tucked under Rachel's bed. Balancing in them was awkward at first, but the sensation of height and posture thrilled him. With every small step, Alex felt a little more like someone else, someone daring, playful, and alive in a way he had never allowed himself before. Hours passed unnoticed. The apartment, once silent and safe, now felt charged with possibility. Alex's phone buzzed again. Emma was still not home. The thought that she could return at any moment made his pulse spike. He darted glances toward the door, imagining her walking in, seeing him like this. Would she scream? Laugh? Run away? The skirt, the blouse, the makeup, they were no longer just items of clothing. They were symbols of transformation, of stepping into a world that demanded secrecy and courage. And Alex was caught between two desires, The desire to explore this thrilling new identity and the fear of being exposed, of losing control of the carefully constructed secrecy. As he twirled in front of the mirror, Alex realized something terrifying. He didn't want to stop. The skirt felt like it belonged to him, like it unlocked something essential. Yet guilt and shame lurked in the corners of his mind. He had always seen this as a private indulgence, a momentary escape, but now it felt like a part of him. He thought about his past attempts, the fleeting moments where he had worn Rachel's clothes in secret. None of them had felt like this. None had carried the same weight, the same exhilaration, or the same fear. He was teetering on the edge of discovery and revelation, unsure which would come first. His phone buzzed. It was Emma. "Hey, I'm running a bit late, don't wait up." "Have fun." Alex's heart skipped a beat. Part of him wanted to text back casually, to pretend nothing was happening. But another part, brave, reckless, exhilarated, wanted to push further. What if he kept the skirt on, walked around, practiced his new persona? What if he took the camera and made a short video, just to see himself fully transformed? The thought made him laugh nervously. He could feel the adrenaline coursing through him, mixing with a heady sense of secrecy. Every movement, every adjustment of the skirt or blouse, amplified the sensation of being someone else, yet entirely himself. At one point, Alex caught himself staring at the camera, imagining Emma seeing this recording. A wave of anxiety hit. What if she saw it online? What if someone else found it? The fear was sharp, cold, and real. But beneath it, there was an undeniable pull, a desire to continue, to explore, to embrace this new side of him. He took deep breaths, trying to steady the shaking of his hands. The reflection in the mirror now felt like a challenge, a dare from himself to confront both excitement and fear, desire and secrecy. Little did Alex know, his playful joke, the simple act of putting on a skirt, was setting the stage for events he could never have anticipated. The thrill of secrecy, the rush of transformation, and the tension of potential discovery would soon collide in ways that would test every boundary of his comfort, his identity, and his relationship with Emma. For now, he remained in front of the mirror, caught in a delicate balance of curiosity and fear, exhilaration and shame. The room was quiet, but the air itself seemed charged with the promise of suspense, the foreshadowing of close calls, and the lure of transformation he couldn't, and wouldn't, resist. Alex's heart raced as the soft click of the apartment door made him freeze mid-step. He had been walking around, testing the balance of the heels, adjusting the skirt, and pretending to practice poses in front of the mirror when he heard it, the unmistakable sound of someone unlocking the door. "Emma?" Panic shot through him like lightning. Every fiber of his being screamed for him to hide, to rip off the blouse and skirt, to throw on something normal. But another, louder voice, reckless, excited, daring, urged him to stay. He was already caught in this whirlwind of transformation, and retreat felt impossible. The door opened slowly. Alex's breath caught as Emma's voice called out, cheerful but unaware. "I'm home." Wait, what are you wearing?" Alex turned slowly, hoping to maintain composure, though his hands trembled. The blouse was perfectly in place, the skirt flowing just right, and the heels made him taller than he'd ever been in his life. For a moment, the apartment seemed frozen, the air thick with suspense. Emma's eyes widened. Alex could see the flicker of surprise, confusion, and curiosity. The words died in her throat as she processed the sight before her. And in that heartbeat, Alex realized something. He wasn't just hiding from the past anymore. He was exposing a part of himself he had barely understood. He shifted nervously, trying to explain, but the words tangled in his throat. Every heartbeat seemed amplified, echoing in the silent apartment. "It's just a joke," he finally muttered, though the uncertainty in his voice betrayed him. Emma stepped closer, studying him carefully. Her expression softened, but there was a spark of mischief, the hint of curiosity that made Alex's stomach flutter. "A joke, huh? You're really committed to this joke." Alex laughed nervously, adjusting the skirt again. Each movement made him more aware of his transformed body, how the fabric clung to him, how the heels forced him to stand straighter, how the makeup altered the familiar reflection he had carried for years. He felt vulnerable, yes, but also more alive than ever. As they talked, the phone buzzed on the counter. It was a notification from a social media app. The camera had been recording, and Alex's last test video was now in the drafts folder, one accidental tap away from posting. The sudden awareness of how close he had come to exposure made his pulse spike. Emma noticed his glance at the phone. "Something wrong?" she asked, tilting her head. Alex's mind raced. Could he explain? Should he? The thrill of secrecy was intoxicating, but the risk of losing control was terrifying. He swallowed hard, trying to steady himself. Every second felt like walking a tightrope. The heels pressed into his feet, the skirt brushed against his thighs, and the blouse reminded him of the delicate balance between who he was and who he appeared to be. Suddenly, a breeze from the open window caught the edge of the skirt, lifting it slightly. Alex froze, panic flashing in his eyes. Emma's gaze followed the movement, and for a moment, the room felt suspended in time. It wasn't just the skirt, it was a symbol of Alex's dual life, the tension between secrecy and exposure, desire and fear. He reached down instinctively to adjust it, fingers trembling. The mirror across the room reflected him perfectly. Two versions of Alex staring back, one playful, daring and transformed, the other anxious, vulnerable and raw. Emma stepped closer, curiosity overriding hesitation. "You know, you look kind of amazing," she admitted, a teasing smile playing on her lips. Alex's breath caught. Was this approval or mockery? The uncertainty made his heart pound. Before he could respond, there was a knock at the door. Both froze. Another visitor? Delivery? Someone from the past? Alex's mind raced. Every secret, every moment of exploration was now at risk. Emma peeked through the peephole and turned back. "It's your neighbor, I think." "Just a minute." Alex's pulse spiked. The heels felt suddenly heavier, the skirt tighter. Every movement was magnified, every sound amplified. The tension in the apartment was unbearable, a storm of potential exposure and thrilling vulnerability. He realized he had to make a choice. Would he retreat into his old self, abandon the transformation, and hide behind normalcy? Or would he embrace this new persona, risking embarrassment, judgment, and exposure? Emma's hand found his, a gentle but grounding presence. "Do you want to open the door like her?" Or, her teasing tone left the sentence unfinished, but the implication was clear. Alex's heart raced. The option to step fully into this transformed self, to own it in front of someone he trusted, was exhilarating and terrifying. The knock came again, louder this time. Alex's breath caught, and he felt the weight of the situation crush him and elevate him simultaneously. Every second stretched, every detail magnified. The rustle of the skirt, the click of the heels, the soft blush on his cheeks, the glint of curiosity and mischief in Emma's eyes. He turned slowly toward the door, a decision forming. Whatever happened next, the boundary between his secret and his reality would shatter. And there, on the threshold of discovery, Alex realized he couldn't go back. Not entirely. The apartment, once a safe space for private exploration, had become a stage for suspense, desire, and transformation. Every heartbeat, every twitch of nerves, every glance reflected the dangerous allure of stepping fully into a new identity. Alex's hand lingered on the doorknob, the cold metal grounding him to the moment. His heart hammered in his chest, the heels amplifying every pulse, every nerve ending alive with anticipation and fear. Emma stood beside him, her eyes sparkling with curiosity and amusement, a hand lightly resting on his arm as if to steady him, or perhaps to dare him further. The knock came again, sharp and insistent. Alex's mind raced. Should I answer? Should I hide? He could feel the weight of his transformation pressing down, the skirt clinging just so, the blouse soft against his skin, the makeup emphasizing features he had never dared to show. Every detail screamed exposure, yet every sensation pulsed with exhilaration. Emma tilted her head, a mischievous smile curling on her lips. "You know, if you don't open it like this, they'll see just him." Her words, teasing yet daring, left Alex frozen. Him, the person he used to be, was gone in this moment, replaced entirely by her girl, the playful, vulnerable, electrifying version of himself that only a few people had ever glimpsed. Taking a shaky breath, Alex turned the knob. The door creaked open, and there, framed in the hallway light, stood the neighbor, a friendly but nosy presence whose sudden appearance threatened to unravel everything. Alex's stomach twisted. Would they recognize him? Laugh? Judge? Or worse, call someone else? Emma nudged him forward, whispering, "Just play along." Alex swallowed, adjusting the skirt instinctively, brushing his fingers along the soft fabric to steady himself. He took a step into the hallway, heels clicking against the floor, the sound echoing ominously. The neighbor's eyes widened, curiosity peaked, and for a moment, time seemed to stretch into a taut string ready to snap. Hey," Alex said, his voice a strange mix of hesitance and the new confident tone he discovered while crossdressing. "How's it going?" The neighbor blinked, processing the unexpected sight.
"Oh, wow.
"I didn't expect." Their gaze flicked from Alex's face down to the skirt, then back up, a mixture of surprise and something unreadable in their expression. Alex felt a heat rise to his cheeks, the thrill of being seen blending dangerously with the fear of exposure. He shifted, the skirt brushing against his thighs, the heels forcing him to hold himself differently. Every instinct screamed to retreat, yet a tiny, defiant part of him wanted to stay, to revel in the moment, to see how far he could push this new persona. Emma leaned closer, her whisper brushing against his ear. "You look perfect. Just don't let them know it's you." Alex's mind spun. "Don't let them know it's me?" That was the twist he hadn't anticipated. The line between secrecy and revelation had never felt thinner, never more seductive. The neighbor's eyes sparkled with curiosity, maybe even admiration, and Alex felt a shiver of both fear and delight run down his spine. Suddenly, another sound cut through the tension, a soft chime from Alex's phone, a notification flashing across the screen. The video he had recorded earlier, teasing and playful, was still sitting there, one accidental tap away from being posted online. His pulse quickened. If that goes live, everything changes. Emma noticed his glance and arched an eyebrow, a knowing smirk spreading across her face. "What's that look for?" Alex froze. Every choice now carried weight. Respond, retreat, hide, or embrace. The thrill of secrecy, the danger of exposure, the intoxicating vulnerability of his new self, they all collided in a perfect storm. He realized that once the neighbors stepped fully into the apartment, nothing would be the same. His past, his hidden desires, the part of him that had always been locked away, they were all teetering on the edge. The neighbor took a cautious step forward, curiosity written across their face. Alex's breath caught. He could feel the tight fabric of the skirt against his skin, the delicate weight of the blouse, the unfamiliar balance of the heels, every sensation magnified by the suspense, by the possibility of being discovered. Emma's hand tightened lightly around his arm, a grounding force, a dare, a promise. "Do you want to go back or show them everything?" Alex's mind raced. There was no turning back, not entirely. The girl in the skirt, the playful, bold, transformed version of himself, had taken hold. And now, with the neighbor at the threshold, with Emma watching, with the world, or at least the world of this small apartment, poised to see him as he truly was, the stakes had never been higher. He opened his mouth to respond, but the words caught in his throat. The moment stretched, the apartment silent, but for the ticking of time and the rapid beat of his heart. He knew that in the next second, everything could change: acceptance, embarrassment, judgment, or revelation. And then a sudden, unexpected sound came from outside the apartment. A knock, louder this time, impatient, almost urgent. Alex froze, a jolt of panic shooting through him. Emma gasped softly. The neighbor's eyes widened further. Alex's heart raced, his hands trembling. The skirt swished against his thighs, the heels forcing him to stand tall, the blouse brushing softly against his skin. Every detail was magnified. Every heartbeat was a countdown. And in that suspended moment, Alex realized something. He was no longer hiding from the past. He was standing on the edge of a future he couldn't yet define, a future where his secret, his thrill, his vulnerability, and his newfound confidence collided in a single, unforgettable instant. The doorbell rang again. Louder, more insistent. Alex froze, eyes darting between Emma, the neighbor, and the open doorway. Who's at the door? Will they recognize me? What happens next? The story ends there, on the edge of suspense, leaving the audience holding their breath, wondering, did Alex get fully discovered? How will Emma react? Will he embrace his transformed self or retreat into his old life? The thrill, the danger, and the uncertainty hang in the air, unresolved, demanding the viewer's speculation and interaction.